Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's Streamer Showcase, and this week we have Synner. How are you doing, Synner?
I am so good. Thank you for having me. I couldn't believe it. I was like, me? Thank you.
It's my honor. It's my honor. So this time we do them. I want to find out why people have specific names and why they began the journey that they have. So for you, why Synner?
Okay, so Synner because I don't know, when you're young, you think you're like cool or whatever and doing the things, right? Like being a sinner. But then it became funny because my whole thing is about lifting people up and like doing things better. And things like that, like, just being a healthier person, trying to grow as a person. So it's just funny that it's like the opposite. So I just decided to stick with it.
All right.
And I was playing Rainbow Six Siege and everything was taken, right? Like Synner regularly spelled. So it was SYNN with an _R. And so it stuck. And I just decided to keep it.
Nice. Okay. And what do you call your community? Do you have a specific name for them?
Citizens. I like puns and wordplay, so it's Citizens.
Nice.
In Sin City, yes.
Great. Why did you go live the first time? Why specifically did you choose to start streaming?
So I used to work in visual effects and post-production, crazy long hours. Everything was insane. And when COVID hit, work came to a halt. I live in LA, so it was, extra crazy. And I've been running teams online for, I like to say it as over 15 years, but it's 20. And the interactions we have and the way that I run my teams, it's always been so positive and amazing. And I know that was important. Like I knew that you could be a hardcore gamer and that you could be kind to each other still. I knew that you could have lasting relationships with these people because, you spend X amount of hours every week, doing something together, and it could build these bonds that made changes in, real life. Like my life was forever changed by the people that I met gaming. Mm-hmm. And in my teams, it happened everywhere. And so I'm like, this needs to be something, for everybody. Like what will happen if it's on a bigger scale? What will happen if the community is bigger than just, my few raid teams of, 8, 10, 20 people? What if it's bigger? And that's kind of how I went live the first time. I was like, well, COVID happened, don't have work. Now I have a chance to finally, sit down and try it out. So
cool.
That's how I went live the first time.
Okay, so when did you actually go live the first time? How long have you been streaming?
We're almost at my anniversary.
Ooh.
My first time streaming was February 28th, 2020.
Nice.
Yep. So almost a year. Gonna have a big shenanigans about it, so I hope you'll come, Moose. Yeah.
Well, we'll see. We'll try and make it. Well, we'll jump ahead in. So what have you got planned for February, March? What have you got planned for the next few months? As you're saying, it's very close to your anniversary.
Well,
go straight into that.
Just today.
Yep.
I announced a partnership with Dr. Cynthia Phelps. I've been running and testing this roundtable called Mental Health Potion, and it has been receiving great feedback. The topics range from the first one was conflict resolution, how to deal with it in a healthy way, because in relationships you need to deal with conflict, right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be an end all be all, right? So that was amazing. Another one that we have coming up is making it acceptable for men to compliment each other. Men should be able to be like, hey, bro, nice hair. That's what's up. Nice eyes. That's what's up. I saw something happen online and the interaction, it started out great. Some guy tried to undercut him and then everybody else supported him. And I was like, we need more of that in the world. But the one that Cynthia Phelps is going to be doing with us will be about self-compassion and learning to forgive yourself, because it's not about who you were back then when you did that thing that you can't seem to forgive yourself for. It's about who you choose to be now. And she does workshops, and she's amazing. She started a company called Inner Ally, and it's all about that self-compassion, learning to be healthier for yourself so that you can be healthier for others. So that's exciting.
Nice. That sounds very useful. Very needed kind of things, particularly in today's society. So that's great.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so at the minute, what do you do outside of streaming? Are you just purely doing content creation, or do you have something else that you're doing?
So for me, I stream as much as I can, but I'm working on these programs, right? Like this mental health roundtable. I'm working on, it's like a big brother, big sister situation, right? But it would be for gamers. And if you take 16, 17-year-olds, right? If we can implement programs where they're partnered with a younger person, because, parents can't, you know what I mean? Like, be into video games, know what's going on online and all the things. If we can set up a network and a program, right, of approved sites and games and kids, right, we can pair them up together, and then they can have like a buddy online. And I feel like this mentorship program could be great. And eventually I'm hoping that we would be able to give them college credits for it. So just working on things like that. And then I'm doing a little bit of work around representation and inclusion, and teaching women how to control their space online, because really that's why I got into being a team lead and a raid leader. Being a hardcore prog raider in the early WoW days, 2004 vanilla WoW, I was a main tank.
Rough.
In a hardcore prog team. Yeah, so it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, rough times.
And I got slapped back to reality. I realized that there's still girls and women out there who are afraid, like genuinely scared to speak in a game because of the harassment they receive. And I realized I have some privilege because I dealt with it way back then. And from then on, I was just my own team leader, right? I didn't want to deal with it. So I built my own teams. And now I want to be able to teach other people how to do that.
That's great.
So
those
are the other things. On top of streaming.
Streaming. All right. So how do you fit all that in? Do you schedule your day out, or is it just kind of it just fits in when you can? How do you make sure that the best sin is hitting that content, hitting your team's work, your roundtable work, and everything else that you got going on?
So balance is really hard. It helps that I was a VFX and post producer, right? Because literally that's all it is. It's like budgeting, scheduling. You need to see what assets you have, what artists you have. You need to be able to see when they all come together, what's most important, and prioritize. So that really helps me out. When I have all these things going on, I do my best to set a block aside for each. Whatever is moving more, if there's something big going on, like for mental health potion, of course, I'm going to set a larger chunk aside for this. It's mostly about prioritizing. And then my community, regardless of whether or not I can go live that day, I am completely active with them on Discord. We're real life friends. A bunch of people have come together. So regardless of whether or not I'm live that day, we're all doing something together generally. So nice. That's kind of how I keep it balanced.
Yeah, I've been in your Discord. It's fairly what's the word? Active. Yeah, it's a very active chat, and everyone seems pretty happy. So that's good. That's good. You managed to build a good kind of community there, which is great. That's a big thing that people strive for. Yeah, that is the goal. Okay.
Thank you.
So you stream on Twitch. Did you ever stream on Facebook?
No, I never streamed on Facebook. I hadn't streamed on YouTube. So, okay. Real talk. Before February of 2020, the only time I had ever been on Twitch was I had one of my raiders, the main tank in my team, started streaming. So I would like pop in and support his stream, and that was it. Like that was the only time I ever really spent on Twitch before. So
Okay.
my initial going live, and then after, for like the first 6 months, I streamed 6 days a week,
Oof.
no less than 10 hours a stream, because I needed to learn everything. That's how my brain works, right? You gotta
Okay.
do it. You gotta work with time zones. You gotta learn the thing. And going from working like 80 or 100 hours a week in VFX to not having any work, I was like, well, I'm going to put all this drive and we're going to do this. And I had an amazing time. Like, I wasn't like drained. Like, it was just, I could stay there because I was learning so much and meeting new people. And I'm like great with networking and I love meeting people. So it was just easy. So.
Great. Well, that sounds intense.
It was.
Yeah. 60-hour weeks. Just going crazy. Yeah. Well, if it's something you enjoy, then great.
Exactly.
Great. So you've said about WoW. So was WoW like the first game you got into? Were you always into games?
So I've been a gamer for as long as I could possibly be.
Okay.
Growing up, we didn't have a lot of money. So I wasn't able to have systems regularly. I would get them like, way later than they were. Like I had an Atari and a Commodore 64 and all of these things, in the 90s. And then I remember getting my first PlayStation and Cool Borders and Test Drive, like, let's go. That was my jam, right?
Yeah.
So, once that took hold, then it was just one after the other. And once PC gaming happened, I was fortunate enough at the time, my stepfather was also kind of a nerd, and so he had a computer. I got lucky on that. And then one time I brought home a free trial for World of Warcraft, and he was like, I've been avoiding it because I thought I would like it. And sure enough, boom. We all loved it. My whole family played it. Him, my aunt, my uncle, like everybody. So
nice.
That's how it happened. I've been gaming forever.
Nice.
Commodore 64. Don't look up how old that machine is. Don't you guys.
So you're the one that brought WoW into the household and ruined everything.
Yep, they still play. My little sister still plays. Yep.
Great. So, okay. So did you pick Twitch solely because your raid team member was on there? Or like what process did you go through to actually choose when you decided you wanted to go live? Was it just that's the one you knew because of him? Or Yeah, okay.
That's basically what it was. Like I came into this like baby deer, like had no idea what I was doing. But he did. He had been trying to get me to stream for a while just because of my personality. And, he saw the way I ran the team for years. That team in itself ran for like 6 years. He's like, you would be amazing. You should do it. But, with work and stuff, I was like, I don't have time. I don't, whatever. So when I was ready, that's the platform he used. He was familiar with it and he helped me get it set up. And, that was all I really knew at the time.
Great. Has there been anybody, any like other streamers that have influenced you, or any other people in the world that have influenced the path you've taken, particularly with streaming?
Actually, like not big streamers.
Mm-hmm. Or
more
anyone.
Like my personal connections with people. And honestly, the first one, okay, so when I first started streaming, I was streaming like Final Fantasy and Overwatch because those were the games that I was playing. I came into contact with this game, City of Heroes, only because I was helping with a charity stream. I was a producer. I saw that the person who was streaming was having an issue setting it up. So Blitz Falcon, I met this guy. I didn't even play the game. City of Heroes is an old MMO, came out the same year as World of Warcraft. I wasn't playing the game, but he was doing this charity, and the poor guy, he was doing so much, and he was all by himself, so I helped. I was like, hey, like, I'm not working right now. Like, let me use my skills. Like, I'll just help you.
Yeah.
And, he got me introduced to COH and, charity streaming and that stuff. So Blitz Falcon really was, like, the first, big, streamer influence. Captain Bubbles is the person who I was on my team and initially got me into it. In the COH community, you know, I met a lot of great people. I met Iron Smithy through another streamer named Christian Bishop. But that's how I found out about Pipeline, like originally.
Yeah.
But I just connected with Iron Smithy. Like when I first started, I went at this just like I would any other way, like networking, like finding people who I feel like have similar values and are doing things that I like. And, you know, Iron Smithy was, you know, great content, funny, kind, caring, you know, charismatic, you know, and I was like, yes, please support this person. Amazing. And then he led me to people like Jada. And so that's how I found Pipeline. And then, you know, the rest is history. You all know I'm a huge fan of so many people in Pipeline. So, that's it. I think Iron Smithy probably leading me into Pipeline has been like the biggest, you know, influence for what I'm doing and where I'm going and how I see what I'm doing.
Great. Cool. Well, you said obviously you kind of gelled with Iron Smithy and you kind of look for those streamers that you gel with. What do you think is the most important attribute for a good streamer to have? Might not necessarily be a successful one. It could be an underrated streamer, but what do you think is the most important thing for them to be a good streamer in your eyes?
Genuinely connecting with your chat. I feel like the reason that people, you know, stick around in Sin City, even after, you know, like I streamed COH for a while and I stopped, and there are some people who only play that game, right? Like that's it. They don't play anything else. They're not interested in, you know, FPSs or Overwatch, but they come back because like I genuinely care about them. You know, we've connected on that level. You know, yeah, I do mental health advocacy and stuff like that. So, you know, there's a little bit more of it, but making them understand like how important they are. Like we as content creators, like if it weren't for them, we would just be a bunch of dorks sitting around looking at ourselves on a webcam. Like they're it. You know, really appreciate them. And so I feel like, you know, that is a big deal and that will change the way, you know, people see you. And, you know, they stick around. I play whatever games that they're not interested in, but they still pop in. They'll still be in my Discord. They still say hey and support, just because like I genuinely care about them as a person. So appreciate your followers, appreciate your chatters, your lurkers, because they all matter.
Always do. Good.
Yeah.
You hit the nail on the head there, so that's great. All right, so you've got your roundtable that you're going to be kicking off. What else are you going to be doing? What is there any specific games that you want to be streaming? Is there any other just chatting segments you want to be doing?
Okay, so two things. Well, three things really. So when I'm working like hardcore on the other programs, I tend to get my schedule back down to one game, right? Because it's something that I can just play, don't have to worry about. You know what I mean? Like people can expect it. Yeah. So that's kind of how I choose. Since, you know, things, since I got affiliate with Pipeline, you know, the application
congratulations.
Sorry. Since all of that was done, like I had a little bit more free time.
Yeah.
So now I've opened it back up and I've started playing some of my old loves. I started playing the Division 2 again, which is a big deal.
Yeah.
And, you know, I do my best because I'm like, hey, I love playing games with you. Play the games that I want to play. So I do my best to like get people to come play games with me. So the Division 2 and Rainbow Six Siege, the community is toxic, like in game. But I've always been, again, I run my own team, so I don't have to deal with it, right?
Yeah.
So getting back into that has been amazing. There's actually been like quite a few people playing. And then again, planning my community night, which is going to be my celebration. It's going to be a house party. It's going to be on Discord. Nice. One of my past lives, I was live production for big events like EDC, you know, built camps at Burning Man and events all around Southern California. So I know some very talented musicians and DJs. So there will be live sets. We'll have some like old school house music, like a house party. Everybody's going to dress up and like be on video cam. So it's going to be amazing. So that's what I'm working on right now. I was
Nice.
stoked for that.
Nice. Well, you touched upon your old like things you did in the past, but what's kind of led? Obviously, you were the gateway to WoW for your family. You've done VFX. What's kind of the past for Sin? What were you doing that's led you to the point we see you today on stream?
So I moved from Ohio to Los Angeles, and I was working live production and doing all of that. And then, there's a point where I was like, all right, I was like, what was I, 25-ish? I'm like, all right, so I'm out in LA. I've made it this far. I've been here, a few years. I'm good. I need to really buckle down and figure out what's going on in my future. Like, I'm not, gonna plan on somebody, taking care of me. Like, I don't, necessarily know that I'm gonna have children. So I'm like, what, can I do to, what I mean, be productive and,
Yeah.
set up my future. So, I happen to know some very powerful and amazing badass women who worked in post-production and VFX. And so I started there. I started from the bottom. I started, as client service, working reception, and then, moved up to, running the office, and then, moved into producing. And then eventually I was running a post house called Incendio in Venice Beach for a while, for 2 years. And then I moved from there up into visual effects. So I just put my head down and I started working. And while I was working, I was seeing the way that people were treating each other in the corporate world, right? And that's where culture comes in. So I started studying company psychology. Like, it's a whole thing. Like, there's a whole industry for this.
Yeah.
And then I started working in culture teams and things like that for these big VFX companies. And again, then bing, I was like, it's the same thing, right? I build my raid teams because I didn't like the way people treated each other.
Yeah.
So I started a VFX, and then I'm like, well, I like doing this, but I want to help fix the way people treat each other, right? Because we can be better. So it all kind of came to a head, and I'm like, all right, video games, VR, AR, like, it's all coming. If we move into the next phase of technology with the way that we treat each other, it's going to be not so good.
No.
So I want to do something. I want to try my best to, I don't know, make some kind of difference in the way that we treat each other online. And, that's through, working with people like, Dr. Phelps, and, inclusion, and, people learning, differences from each other. And, it's just, it all kind of came to a head. Like, every phase of my life has seemed to have this same pattern, and I just kind of finally embraced it, and I'm here now. I'm like, this is what I want to do. So I'm trying my best to, make my dreams happen and kind of maybe help something along the way. Hopefully this is for not.
That's great. You've given yourself an amazing purpose. And you've kind of pushing through with that, and it's amazing to see, and I hope it does flower into what you want it to.
I hope so. Even if it's anything, like, even just one person, even just changing the conversation, in any space, it matters, and I'm okay with that. I don't know if anything is going to come of it. I don't, I'm just like anybody else. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm trying really hard, and I hope that it helps. That's all I can say.
Yeah, me too, because I think the world does need things like this. The world needs to get better. It's not a great place. It's very commendable that you're doing things like this.
I appreciate that, and I sometimes feel like, I don't know if I'm doing enough, or I don't know if I'm doing it right, but I know that people want to be kinder.
Yeah.
People don't like being treated the way that everybody gets treated. They want to. And if, we can change the dialogue in enough spaces and make it more socially acceptable to be kind, more people will want to do that, because people crave that. They want to be heard. They want people to be nice to them. even the angriest person, they really just want to be loved. And so, it's just getting enough people, in society to be like, hey, we don't do that anymore. And you can only do that one person at a time, one conversation at a time. Be kind.
Yeah.
If you have a choice, be kind, and it will make all the difference.
That's great.
That's how I do. Yeah.
that is a great.
You don't need to get on a whole rant about it.
No, that's great. That's great. That's why we're doing things like this, just to kind of dig a little bit deeper, and it's great. Okay, so now is your opportunity. Give a nice little spiel. Why should people come and check you out?
Shenanigans. Puns. All right, look. To be fair, some can be terrible, but some are amazing. I have a standard of behavior for them as well, so we don't do bad ones. But
Okay.
I love jokes, love wordplay, so like that's a thing, right?
Yeah.
No, I'm so grateful for my community. They're so supportive and fun, and they're genuinely interested in what is going on with you. They care about each other, and I feel like a lot of people are looking for that. So I don't know. Sometimes I feel like it's not really like about me. It's about what we're building here together, and it's pretty great. So if you ever need an ear, or you want to laugh at me being bad in a video game, or you want to laugh at us making fun of my best friend Miscreant, like whatever it is, then you can come to Sin City and say, what's up?
Great.
That's it.
That's good.
I don't know what else to say.
No, it's good. You nailed it. It's great.
I'm bad about talking about myself. I don't know. I'm sorry.
Great. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this was the Streamer Showcase this week. My name's Moose. That's Synner. I will see you around.
Bye.